Hunting has been a part of my family tradition for as long as I can remember. We're an immigrant family coming from France and Ireland, but ever since we've been in Canada, we've been in pursuit of wild game. My dad taught me how to hunt, just like my grandpa taught my dad how to hunt, and his dad taught him how to hunt, and so on and so forth. It's this lineage of wild game pursuit that's baked hunting into our DNA. In my family, a child is taught how to handle a firearm shortly after they're capable of walking. One starts with a pellet gun and then graduates to a .22 around the age of 6 or 7. Once you've proven your marksmanship with the .22, then you can start pursuing grouse with it under the supervision of a family elder. By 10 or so, you move on to a shotgun like a .410 or a 20 gauge, and by 14 or 15, you're probably going to be gifted your first gun. I was gifted this shotgun from my Uncle John and my late Grandpa Morash. It's a single shot, break action 20 gauge. Nothing fancy, but it does the trick. Normally it's your dad who would gift you an heirloom gun, but my dad chose to gift his intergenerational gun to my brother Kevin, who honestly probably deserved it more. Kevin and my dad had a natural bond that I just couldn't compete with.
Kevin was my ride partner yesterday, eh, Kev? Me and you went down all the rides together. We were awesome, dude. We were an awesome team.
Kev was like a natural born athlete who picked up every single sport like he was a lifelong professional at it. Hockey, soccer, skiing, hunting. Kev could do it all, and he did it well. My dad recognized that in him and tried to give him the tools and practice necessary to excel at whatever he wanted to try. I, on the other hand, was a bit of a nerd. While Kev was busy shooting pucks at the garage door, I was inside reading Harry Potter or watching Jurassic Park for the 200th time. My folks recognized that in me, so they always bought me books and movies to capture my imagination. It's honestly probably why I'm so inclined to tell stories today.
Hello, and welcome to the Wham Profiles, where the food from plants and animals keeps us satisfied. We can grow it, find it, or catch it for dinner. Come and learn how to get it from a pro to beginner.
Speaking of stories, this video is about my dad, but it's also about my 2023 blacktail deer hunting season, which starts in August with an alpine archery hunt. When I was a kid, my dad used to tell me that I walked too fast to see anything. He'd say, "How are you supposed to see small movements when you're also moving? How are you supposed to hear a leaf crunch when you're making all that noise?" I just thought he was being a dick, but turns out he was teaching me. My dad also told me that we never shoot anything we don't eat. I only disobeyed that rule once, and the consequences still hurt me to the core today. When you're a kid, sometimes it feels like your parents are lecturing you just for the sake of lecturing you. They show you how to do something, so you try it the opposite way. And there's a bear right beside me. There's a curious bear. And he's scoping me out. Oh, there he is. He's pissed. You guys probably could not hear that. But he's chuffing and grunting. He's going, "Ruh, ruh, 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 ruh." And he just ran. Got a better vantage point at me. And then looked at me for a little bit, and then ran and did the chuffing thing again. Now I don't know where he is. I'm trying to listen to my dad now. In situations where outcomes were unclear, he'd say that we're gonna play it by ear or go with the flow. In hunting, that meant that we had to listen to the land. On this hunt, I think the land was telling me that the time wasn't right. Yes. I don't know if your family was at all like mine, but if it was, then you probably remember your dad busting out the big DV camera every time a holiday or special event rolled around.
And that's it. That's me. Hi, I'm the video photographer for the week. My name is Jim Morash.
We used to get really annoyed with it, but looking back now, I'm pretty thankful for it.
Where are we right now? Where are we?
I get to remember the way that my dad was when I was a kid. He was a kind-hearted guy who always made an effort to have fun with the family.
There's the boys playing in the pool again. There's Daddy.
Most of that fun revolved around family road trips and outdoor activities like skiing, camping, fishing, and hunting.
Michael's filming, and he's filming Kevin's shirt.
Hi, Daddy.
I had a relaxing day today, and I'm very, very happy.
Dad was an accountant by trade, but he was his truest self on a midsummer's day at the cottage. When my folks split, I decided to stay with my mom and didn't talk to my dad for almost 2 years. Hunting and fishing was something I always did with him, so when he left the picture, so did my connection to my food. Throughout my time in university, I remember thinking that hunting was bad. The prevailing opinion around me was that the preservation of all species was important, that these natural systems existed and flourished for millions of years prior to us, and that when you look at it, humans are really the culprits of the current mass extinction. These are just facts, and I had a hard time dealing with the fact that I had killed animals in my past. But the truth is, I never stopped killing animals. While I had stopped consuming red meat, which is shown to dramatically reduce your carbon footprint, I was still eating chicken and fish. I just wasn't the one doing or witnessing the killing, which makes meat consumption a lot easier to grapple with. Eventually, I came to the realization that hunting, a thing I once felt ashamed of, actually had the potential to reduce my carbon footprint more than stopping my consumption of store-bought red meat. So I thought, hey, maybe I'll get back into hunting one day. And then in 2018, that thought became a reality, and not fully by choice. My dad was out drinking in Vancouver one night and slipped down a set of stairs. It caused him a severe traumatic brain injury and an aneurysm. He received intensive surgery and woke up from his medically induced coma a few days later, where my grandpa, my uncle, my brother, and I were all waiting for him. Due to the nature of his injuries and the medication he would need to be on, The doctors told me he would be lucky to live for another year. His cognitive level was deemed that of a young child, and he'd have to relearn how to talk, walk, read, and write. The social workers told me that I'd need to gather his belongings from his apartment to keep or sell off, because he was going to have to live in an assisted living facility there on out. The Vancouver Police Department then called me and informed me that we had exactly 1 month to get my dad's firearms before they were going to be put up for auction. Some of these guns were family heirlooms that had been handed down from generation to generation, so getting the guns back was immensely important to me. But collecting them turned out to be a problem. I found out at that point that in order for me to get them, that I needed to have something called a PAL, or a Possessions and Acquisitions License. Seeing as my brother and I both only had our core hunting licenses, we both enrolled in a PAL course immediately to try to get those guns back before the month ran up. Speaking of time running up, I'd been hunting hard from August to October of this year and had nothing to show for it. With a bunch of documentary work on my plate in November, I knew that time was ticking, so I started to ramp things up a bit.
Alright, today is October 14th. As you can see, I'm posted up here in a clear cut. I did a first light glassing session in the open spots. Didn't see any activity. So now my plan is to go into the thick stuff, into the tree line, and see what's in the tree line. I'm going to enter right here. I'm going to follow that all the way, this way, until I get to the base of this mountain, which is about 3.5 kilometers away. If you were to draw a straight line to it, but it's not a straight line, so it's a much larger hike than that. And it's through some pretty nasty terrain, so it's going to take me about 2.5 hours to get up to that point, and then I'll have an hour to hunt, and then I have to come all the way back. I have 5 hours this morning, so hopefully I can make something happen, or at least see something cool. Okay, so I know it doesn't look like much, but this right here is a deer bed. This is where they lay down in the middle of the day, which kind of surveys all the way down over here, so it can look all the way down. As you can see, there's another bed right there. They like these high spots that they can look down into the valley. It's 9 a.m. now. I'm an hour and a half into my hike, and it's taken me a little bit longer than I thought. It's really dry still. We're mid-October, but I was expecting to have more precipitation by this point in the year. So, sneaking into these areas with all the twigs and the underbrush and understory is proving to be a lot louder than I thought it would. Hiking for 3 hours. Pretty good amount of miles on the boots. Or kilometers, because we're up here in Canada. I'm gonna give it another hour before I head back down to the truck.
Well, back at the truck. It's about 12:30. I did the 5-hour hike, and I'm truly exhausted. Today I saw and heard 0 deer. So yeah, at this point I'm basically 2 months into hunting season because I started archery August 20th for grouse and August 25th for deer, and now it's almost October 20th. Time was running out on my hunting season, but I knew that giving up wasn't an option. What I didn't know was that my season was about to take a turn for the better, but potentially at the ultimate cost. I shot this deer the day that my dad died,